Hello and welcome back to the Doctor's Garage, and more importantly welcome back to my Land Rover Series 1, my 1957 Series 1 Land Rover. Now I had this car now for a couple of years probably, and still really enjoy owning it. And one of the things I enjoy most about it is the fact that it's taught me so much about cars, engines in general, because it's such a simple machine to work on. And that has been particularly true over the last 2 months when I finally feel like I've fixed it. I finally feel like I've made it reliable. Something that I was struggling with for so long and I couldn't work out what the problem was. I feel like I finally got on top of that. And some things I've done to it that I'll talk through this video and show you in this video have made it literally start first time all the time. And that was something that it wasn't doing very well previously. I was going to take this car on a car rally about 2 weeks ago, and I'm really glad I didn't in the end, because it was about a 300-mile round trip and I was with other people in cars that are a little bit faster and quite a lot newer. I ended up taking my pickup Defender instead, which I loved and had a really good time in that. And one of the reasons is this wasn't reliable. It was not starting. Probably it started 1 in 5 times and kept running. And then sometimes you'd drive it for a bit, stop it, and it would just cut out and not start again for ages. And you'd have to take one of the spark plugs out and then start it, and that seemed to start it. I don't know. It was very strange. Didn't really work very well. So I started to put a few electronic bits on it, but let me show you now how good this start is. So I haven't started this vehicle today. I've just come and sat in it, and I've got the keys right here. So let's see today if this does start. But it has been doing so far that I've been trying it over the last couple of weeks. So here we are inside my Series 1. This is the key here. So if we turn it on, I should have neutral. Yeah, the fuel pump go, and then that's it, and it's off. How good is that? Pretty much first time it starts and it runs. Let me show you in the bonnet of the stuff that I've done to it. So for those who haven't seen my Series 1, here it is in all its glory. It's pretty battered, it's pretty well worn, which I really like about it. Recently got these new wheels and tyres, actually off a guy on YouTube called Johnny, who sorted me out with these, which I was very grateful for. And they actually look great because they match very well the rear van back that has got a vinyl here that was made by Floyd & Company. Floyd very kindly put these together for me, these vinyls, just to kind of give it a bit of character, really. And I was going to do that for the road trip that I never went on, but nevertheless, here we are. So let me show you inside the bonnet and some of the things that I've done to it. To be honest, I don't really know if this is a good looking engine or a bad looking engine, because this is the first Land Rover Series vehicle I've ever had, and similarly a similar, and also any vehicle I've owned that's anywhere near as old as this. So take a look, let me know what you think in the comments below. Is this a good looking engine or not for the time? It has got some strange kind of plumbing pipes in there that look like they're literally from a plumber's tool case. I don't know if they're standard or not, but anyway, really nice little features, like it's got the old badging in here and everything else. And I believe this is pretty much original. There's been a lot of work done on it by the previous owner that I bought it from, but these horrific red wires that many of you will say are terrible in this car are one of the reasons and one of the things I've done that has actually made a big difference. So let me walk you through it. Originally, completely standard, non-electronic, and I've changed that recently and slowly to get to the point now where I believe it starts pretty much every time. So the first thing was the fuel filter. The fuel filter and the fuel pump underneath it, that's electronic now, new fuel filter. And that seems to have made a big difference to just getting fuel pumped down into the carburetor. The next thing was a new coil. So I had loads and loads of messing around with the points gap and the distributor. And I know a lot of people will say your manual distributor with a points gap is better because you can adjust it on the road, you can fix it and repair it. And I had a points gap distributor for a long time, and it kept sort of letting me down. That's probably because I didn't understand it well enough to really repair it and fix it. I had the feeler gauge and everything like that, but still couldn't really get it to work very well. So I got the distributor done. I had an electromechanic come out and have a look at it, and I played with it a lot to try and get it to work, but there was something still not quite right about the ignition. It still wasn't working as well as it could. So the next thing I did was I changed all the leads, and I got these leads from AccuSpark. These are AccuSpark leads from AccuSpark themselves, and that's because if you remember on a previous video here, as soon as I went near this, I used to get electric shocks because I think the electricity was just shooting off in all sorts of directions. I changed those, I changed the distributor cap, and I also changed the spark plugs at that time to see if that would make a difference. Unfortunately, it didn't really do what I was hoping it to do. It didn't really change anything. So then I was like, well, what else am I going to do? How else are we going to get this fixed? So the next thing I did, if I remember right, was put a new earth on it. So I got a new earth sorted out on this car because down there the earth was a bit wobbly, a bit loose, and I thought it could be the earth that was wrong with it. And most of this advice and tips have just come from you guys, from Instagram, from YouTube, to kind of work out what to do. That again maybe made it a bit more reliable, didn't fix it completely. So then I went for the AccuSpark electronic distributor, which is here, and I was quite worried about doing that because, to be honest, that felt like that was going to be quite a dodgy job to do, having to get the engine in the right position and everything like that. Let me show you guys inside here for those that haven't seen this before. So this is the electronic distributor. So it literally has a sensor on it instead of a points gap, and this whole distributor lifts out quite easily at the bottom from this clamp here. It lifts out, and basically you almost just drop this in, and very fortunately everything lined up for me and the leads were in the right direction and everything kind of just dropped into place. And to my surprise, when I started it, it seemed to pretty much work straight away, which I was very excited about. Now, since then, that has been probably the biggest upgrade that's made the biggest difference. Getting the electronic ignition sorted out definitely helped it. One thing I do notice, which is still a problem, is I can't and don't choke this vehicle or pump the foot pedal at all. And people will say on these cars, you should pump the foot pedal 5 times and all that sort of stuff. Bit of choke, I don't do anything now. And that's because this fuel pipe seems to run way too much fuel into carburetor, and I think it becomes flooded. I think that's my problem, because when I do pump the gas a little bit or pull the choke out a bit, I find that the engine seems to become flooded. And so I was wondering if there was a way, which there probably is, and you guys are probably going to tell me how to do that, to change how much fuel goes into the chamber so I can not get as much coming through. Not that it's a problem, I don't have to choke it or anything now. In these summer months it seems to start absolutely great, but I'm worried that if I do a bit of choke or anything, maybe that might be an adjustment. I can change the mixture or something on how that comes in. But anyway, that has been my Series 1 engine journey, and I've learned so much having this car and kind of getting to grips with some basic kind of fuel in, air in, electricity in, just to understand how it works, which I've been enjoying quite a lot. When you guys look at this, is there anything else that you guys would say needs sorting on it? I don't get any leaks from this at all. It's been really reliable recently, like starts every time, and it seems to drive really, really well. One question I have for you guys is, from a ride point of view, I've obviously got these new tyres and wheels, and these are Michelin, I think they're called cross contacts, I think they are. Something like that. And these are actually really, really good because they're very non-knobbly and not that noisy. But one of the things was, do I need to change the springs? Should I get these springs sorted out? So these are quite rusty, as you can see. At the back as well, these aren't that great. And the question is, would that make a big difference? Is that going to increase and improve the ride quality that much further? Because it is quite bumpy still, and I expect it to be pretty bad. Also this, I believe the damper, that looks pretty shot, so I could change that too. For you guys who've got series cars, has that made a big difference when you've done it? Be really interested to hear what you have to say. In the back here, if you want to take a look in the back of my series, just a couple of bench seats in here with the galvanised bits on there. And I really like this vehicle, how it has still got all the original patina on it throughout. It's really, really nice. Just originally, I know I did talk about spraying this, but I'm very, very glad I didn't go for that decision, because I really like the kind of worn look. And actually, having the van back on, I've actually got into quite a lot now. I was originally running it just topless all the time, but I quite like the van back. Now it's all sort of screwed in properly, and I've got the new vinyling. I quite like the look of it there. So yeah, that is my Series 1 Land Rover, and that's kind of an overview of what's been going on in the engine bay. As always, with any videos on my channel, always love to hear from you guys. What do you guys think should be the next thing I do to my Series 1? Is there anything you would do to kind of improve it a little bit further, make it a little bit more refined? I know the purists among you are going to really hate the fact that I've changed it all to electronic, but for me, it just means that it works every time, all the time, and that was something that I couldn't really turn down, particularly when I was trying to get it ready to go on this rally. So thanks for watching the video, hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys very soon.